InsideThunder.com. Powered by Wheeler Whitlock Insurance.
Well, a break here or there, I thought we had him.
Tim Kawakami, Mercury News. What did you see in the play where Draymond ended up kicking Steven Adams? It was your side of floor. Did you see that clearly?
I thought it was inadvertent. There's contact on the play. I was shocked they even looked at it. And Scott Foster told me that they were looking at it to either determine whether it was flagrant 1 or flagrant 2. And I was in shock because, there's inadvertent contact all the time on plays. So that really surprised me.
Would you be stunned, or would you think it's unfair if the NBA does look at that as a possible suspension?
Oh, I would think they would rescind it. No, honestly, stuff like that happens all the time. There's contact, people's arms, legs flailing. If they think it's on purpose, play the game. This stuff happens all the time. Westbrook kicks out his feet on every three, and there's contact, and it's just part of the game. So I don't understand how that can be deemed a flagrant 1. I think it should be rescinded.
Coach Michael Kenny, can this talk about at what point did the game start to get away from you? Was it on the offensive side, defensive side, every single facet?
All of the above. I think it was like 40-40, maybe 42-40. Our second unit came in, did a really good job. And we were moving the ball, and we started to get control of them defensively. And then we put our starters back in, and they stopped moving the ball. We were taking quick shots, which was just feeding their transition. It wasn't so much turnovers, it was more just bad shots, quick shots, no movement. We weren't forcing them to defend at all. And that's death here, because this team is athletic on their home floor. They're going to push the ball like crazy, and they got going in transition and just opened it wide open.
Dean Blevins, CBS, Oklahoma City. Steve, did games go this way back? When you played, it seemed that the Thunder was down 43 in their first game to San Antonio. They lose by 34, I think. You guys had them the other night. Now they get up 35 or so on you. What's up with the game today? Has the game changed where you have more blowouts like this?
I don't think it's changed at all. I was a Laker fan growing up, and I think it was about 1985. They lost Game 1 in the Garden by 45 points. They won the series. It happens.
Steve, Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press, Democrat. Sometimes you'll hear a coach or a player say it's harder to come back mentally from a close loss, a last-second loss, than a blowout like this. Are you feeling like that now, or not particularly?
We got our butts kicked, so it doesn't matter whether it's 1 point or 30. It's you got to look at the tape and you got to figure out how you can be better, and then you come back with a better effort. But they were the more desperate team tonight. They were beating us to loose balls, to rebounds, and as I said, our quick shots just fed their transition, and they got their crowd involved. They were fantastic.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. Steve, their small lineup with no Adams or Cantor really hurt you tonight, unlike in Oakland. What was it about that smaller lineup that affected you tonight?
It didn't really matter which lineup it was. It was, again, the quick shots fed transition, and when they're smaller, they're going to be a little faster. And so that was just happened to be the point where we really stopped moving the ball, stopped cutting, and all those quick shots with their fast lineup out there caused a lot of problems for us.
Steve, I know you talked about the offense fueling their transition, but your defense seemed like it wasn't anywhere near where it normally is. What specifically was the problem on that side of the ball?
They just outcompeted us. It's often times in the NBA, the team that is a little hungrier, a little more desperate. They're gonna win the small battles, and against a team like this, you lose the small battles on their home floor, you're in big trouble, and that's what happened. We didn't compete hard enough or well enough to stay in the game. It's all troubling. When you lose by 30, it's all troubling.
Eric G., the franchise, going back to the flagrant one, that's when Oklahoma City went on their run. How much did the aftermath of all that affect you guys emotionally?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to answer that question. It was an important play, but when you lose by this much, you can't point to one play as being the difference, obviously. It didn't go our way, and we didn't respond very well afterwards.
Steve, Scott Osler, San Francisco Chronicle. Draymond was 1 for 9, minus 43. Just a bad night. What does he have to do to come back? He's your leader, on your emotional leader. What does he have to do now to get you guys back on track?
Just be himself.
Another Draymond question, though. I mean, you talk about the energy not being there or the competitive level. He is such a key part of that. Do you think he was competitively in this game as much as he usually is?
I don't think any of us were. I think, I didn't have him ready to play, obviously, and I didn't think any of our guys competed at the level, not just in terms of how hard we're playing, but in terms of using our brains and moving the ball and making them work. We didn't do any of that, and we got what we deserved.
Monty Poole, CSN Bay Area. Steve, it looked like the guys were not only taking quick shots, but they also missed a lot of shots, even at the rim. Can you remember a game at all in the last couple of years where they seemed to miss so many shots that were open or at the rim?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to look at the tape to see that, but it did feel like we missed a lot of layups, a lot of shots around the rim, and our transition defense was bad. We did not have a couple of guys back. There was one play where we had all 5 guys underneath the foul line, and we got lucky. We made a deflection. Westbrook was running out, and we got a deflection and stole the ball, but you can't have all 5 guys below the foul line. You got to have a couple back, and so we were not there. We were not there mentally or physically.
Ben Balch, Los Angeles Times, back here. You talked about being down 2-1 in series, but how much different is this challenge with Westbrook and Durant and the way they're playing right now?
Well, every series is different. Every challenge is different. We were down 2-1 twice last year in Memphis, in Cleveland. Both times got blown out in Game 3, and we responded well. So, we have that memory. And I'm confident that we're going to come out and play a really good game in Game 4, and we'll see what happens.
Coach John Herrick, ESPN Radio, KCRC and Enid. When you play the Thunder and you've got Westbrook and Durant and all those guys, how much do you just know you've got to live with what they can do, and then what are the controllables that you worry about when you play against them?
Well, you've got to try to keep the easy stuff away from them, and that means taking care of the ball, running good offense, not giving them free throws. I think they shot 25 free throws in the first half. We were fouling like crazy. So they're going to have their points regardless, like they did in the first 2 games. But we can't give them the easy stuff in transition and the free throws like we did tonight.
Well, it was, I thought for our team, we had a lot of different guys step up and contribute. Obviously Russell and Kevin, but I thought we got great minutes from Andre tonight. Got great minutes from Serge. Both those guys helped. Dion played very well. I just thought tonight, our team as a whole, played pretty well on both ends of the floor.
Nick Gallo, OKCThunder.com. Billy, from the outset, it seemed like both Kevin and Russ had a lot more room to operate in the pick and roll. What were you guys able to do from a spacing standpoint to allow those guys to play make for you?
Yeah, we tried to do some different things, to create some opportunities for Kevin and Russell just to, play a little bit more downhill. Again, I thought both of them did a really good job reading defense and making decisions. I thought our ball movement was very good. I thought we extra passed. I thought we got everybody involved. It was good to see that. I know when we subbed there the last 6 minutes of the game, we were a little bit out of sorts offensively, but I thought for the most part we shot a pretty high percentage. I thought because we made good decisions with the ball.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoma, and Billy, you really zipped out both third quarter and second quarter with your small lineup. No, first quarter and second quarter with you going small, taking Steven out, putting Dion in. What was it about that small lineup that really worked tonight, and does it give you even more confidence in this series? You beat them in game one mostly with your big lineup. Now you dominated in a game with the small guys.
Yeah, I just think because of our roster and the flexibility in our roster and the guys and just how invested they are, different series bring out different situations. Obviously we had a run there with Ennis and Steven against San Antonio, and we still like that lineup and still want to utilize that lineup. But also I felt like with Curry and Klay Thompson on the court and then Klay coming off, for us defensively it may have been a little bit better in terms of us being able to guard. Created maybe a little bit more spacing for us on offense. We had several different ball handlers in there that could help contribute and make plays alongside of Russell and Kevin. So there were some positive things. I think it gave Andre some room and space to do some things that was helpful. It gave, Dion some opportunities. So I thought that group there, to your point, it gave us a little bit of a boost in that first and second quarter, and then in the fourth.
Ben Balch, Los Angeles Times. Steve said he thought the Draymond kick to Steven was inadvertent, was shocked they even went back and looked at it and thinks it'll be rescinded as a flagrant one. What was your take on that play?
Well, I think, a couple things. One is the league, is going to review those things. I think that they probably look at, those plays very closely. It happened, I think, last game to Steven. And again, I'm not here to say whether or not it was or was not intentional. I don't know. But, obviously it's happened twice in the last two games. And, that's something the league will take a look at. I'm sure they look at probably precedent or things that have happened in the past and they go through it. I look at it more from a standpoint of what we can control. I was really, really proud of Steven, just in both situations that he did not retaliate or get upset. Because I think it's easy to lose your emotion in a moment like that, and he didn't. Steven's a tough guy. I think he's a team guy. And, sometimes someone like him that doesn't necessarily draw attention to it, a lot of times something like that maybe doesn't get looked at. But again, I'm not saying it was or was not intentional. I have no idea. I didn't even look up at the replay monitor. I was trying to talk to the guy, so I didn't have a real good view of the play to really comment on it. But I know it happened to Steven a couple times. And listen, it's for the league. The league's going to look at it. They make those decisions. I'm sorry?
Did you think it was a pivotal play in the game?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of plays in the game. And, I think we, at least for us, we've got to react to whatever's going on inside the game. Whether it was viewed a flagrant foul or not, whether it was their ball, we've got to play. There's going to be things that are going to happen in the game, and once they happen, we've got to respond and try to react to them.
Tony Capobianco, Curry and Thompson shot a combined 5 of 19. How much of that was caused by your defense?
Again, I mean, those two guys are phenomenal scorers. They're phenomenal shooters. We've seen, it's really the last 2 years, just incredible numbers of what those guys have done. It's really, really hard to sit here and say that our defense deserves all the credit. He had some looks, let's be honest now. They took 23 three-point shots in the first half, and a lot of them were wide open, and the ball didn't go in the basket. I thought we did a better job trying to recover and contest a little bit better, but everybody has seen those two guys make contested threes on a regular basis. I think anytime you shoot the ball at the level that they shoot it at, there's going to be times where the ball doesn't go in the basket for you. But they do it at such a high rate that I think a lot of times people look at that and they say, why? It's pretty prolific the way they shoot the ball.
Billy, Michelle Steele, ESPN. You know, Steven Adams has been pretty banged up this entire series, but tonight, do you think he reached a new level of toughness and not making a big deal out of it either?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing with Steven that's, really remarkable is he takes a physical pounding, and, he's a tough kid. He's got a great pain threshold. And again, he doesn't retaliate. He just tries to keep playing. And, obviously with Draymond Green and Ezeli and Spates and Varejao, they've got some tough guys over there too that are physical and play hard as well. So, I think for both teams are out there physically, I think, giving it their all. No, I feel pretty good that he'll be okay. I got asked that, coming out of game 2, and he went through everything that we did in practice for the last few days, and I believe he'll be fine. I have no indication from the medical staff that there's any issues about him being able to respond from this.
Kevin gets to the line 12 times tonight, only has 1 turnover. Is that the kind of game you need from him, attacking, not kind of settling for some of those lazy passes?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we talked about this before the game. I think sometimes, when a player turns the ball over, Kevin is a great guy. He is a great player, and he's a student of the game, and he's always trying to evolve and get better. And I give him credit for the way he responded and passed the ball tonight and the decisions and things that he did. He was attacking, he was playing downhill, he was playing at the basket, he got to the free throw line, he was really efficient tonight. He did the same thing in game 2. I think he had 23 at the half tonight, he had 23 at the half the other night. The biggest thing was I thought our effort and our energy, rebounding and defending, was much better tonight than it was in game 2.
John Herrick, ESPN Radio, KCRC and Enid. Billy, what's this year meant to you personally, with this being your first year in the NBA and you're 2 wins away from possibly the NBA Finals? Looks like the players are really responding to you well, and you've built a really good culture here. What's it been like for you personally?
I really believe that it's the people that make the experience enjoyable. That was probably my number one concern coming here, not knowing anybody, and getting a chance to spend some time with Sam in that process and listening to him talk about the people inside the organization. And, I trusted Sam and believed in what Sam had to say, and I would say everything he told me was 100% the truth. The best part of being here, because when you leave a place for 19 years that you have these deep-rooted relationships, you're walking into an environment you have no relationships, zero. Not with one player, not with really anybody there. But because of the people in the building, because of the players, for me personally, relationship-wise, it's been a smooth transition because there's such good people inside the organization.
Eric G., the franchise, what's the difference you saw between Kevin tonight, maybe the first couple of games, is the reason as to why he was able to cut down on those turnovers?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes people are maybe trying to overanalyze the turnovers. I think I said earlier, it's not like there's 3 guys hanging on him and he's got nowhere to pass the basketball. It really was a matter of him just being a little bit more intentional, a little bit crisper, a little bit sharper, with his passing. And he was that way tonight. That's really what happened. I think some of the turnovers he had last game, I think when he went back and looked at them and we talked about them, I think he realized that, I can get this correct and get this resolved, and I can do a better job with the ball. And he did tonight, and again, it's not like, he's out there and he's got 3 guys on him at half court. There's going to be times where when you drive the basketball, you're going to be in traffic and crowd, and you got to make good decisions. And I give him credit. When someone turns the ball over 8 times, a lot of his is on passing. I mean, he's really trying to pass the basketball. And I think sometimes people talk about him, shooting at double teams and he doesn't do that. He tries to really play the right way. And, when you're trying to play the right way and do what he's trying to do, you're going to have a turnover game like he had. But I give him credit for responding and bouncing back the way he did tonight.